In this lesson, before starting our project, we will configure some initial settings and configurations for the newly opened drawings. These settings must already be applied before we begin working on the drawing, so that the drawing can be completed and processed correctly. For this reason, I will first briefly talk about layers, which I mentioned in previous lessons. As we discussed earlier, when opening a new drawing in Civil 3D, the software provides us with several default layers. These are pre-created layers. As we work on the drawing and add lines and objects, we can store them in different layers. Alternatively, we may decide that there are too many layers and that we want to create our own custom layers and only display those, hiding all the others. To do this, we click on Layer Properties and a window opens. As you can see, under the All section, all layers are displayed. Here, we create our own layer group. To do this, we right-click and select New Group Filter, then enter the name of our layer group. For example, we name it Project Layer. After clicking OK, the new group is created. As you can see, it is currently empty. Here, we can create as many layers as we want. We click here and enter the name of the layer. For example, we can create a surfaces layer, which we will use in the future when creating surfaces. Then we can create another new layer and name it Points. We can create another layer and name it Terrain, although since we already have surfaces, a terrain layer may not be necessary. We can also create layers such as rivers and roads. In short, we can create as many layers as we want. When we close this window, you can see that instead of all layers, only the layers we created are displayed here: points, reverse, surface, and others. While drawing objects, we can assign them to these layers. I mentioned this for informational purposes. You do not necessarily have to create these layers, as it is not critically important. Personally, I do not use this method very often. I usually use the layers provided by Civil 3D, and they are sufficient for me. However, for beginners, the large number of layers can sometimes be confusing. Because of this, I recommend that beginners create their own custom layer group and work within it. Now I will delete this group and return to the default state. Next, we will set the coordinate system of the newly opened drawing in Civil 3D. Why is a coordinate system necessary? As you know, once a drawing is completed, if we want to view it on a real map, for example, if our road project is finished, and we want to export it to Google Maps, Google Earth Pro, or Global Mapper and place it onto real terrain, we must first define the coordinate system of the drawing before we start drawing. To do this, we go to Drawing Utilities and then Drawing Settings. A window opens. As you can see, drawing units should be set to meters. Angular units should be set to degrees, which Civil 3D selects automatically. The scale is taken as the base value. Here, we come to the Coordinate System section. As you can see, the drawing currently has no datum, no projection. If we do not intend to place the drawing on any real-world map and only plan to view it within AutoCAD Civil 3D, then there is no need to change the coordinate system. You can continue working with no datum, no projection. However, if you plan to place this drawing on a map, use it for visualization, or export it to any GIS software, then you must define a coordinate system. The region and country where I am currently working use the WGS84 UTM coordinate system. Therefore, I select this coordinate system. You should determine which coordinate system is used in your region and select it accordingly. As you can see, there are many different coordinate systems available here. These are official state coordinate systems, and you need to know which coordinate system is officially used in your area. In the WGS84 UTM system, the world is divided into zones. The zone where I am currently located is Zone 38, so I must select Zone 38. Zone 38 has both a southern and a northern option. My region is located in the Northern Hemisphere, near the 45th meridian, so I select Zone 38 North. The projection is automatically set to UTM. You can select the appropriate coordinate system based on your own location. The remaining tabs in this window are informational only. You can review the data if needed. Once the coordinate system is selected and we click OK, the coordinate system of our drawing is defined. Additionally, in the Drawing Utilities section, there is a Units option. When we click Units, a new window opens. Here, we must ensure that the measurement system is set to decimal and angles are set to degrees. We can also define how many decimal places we want to display when measuring values. For example, setting 3 decimal places is usually sufficient for meters, centimeters, and millimeters. Sometimes, for very precise work, more decimal places may be required, but for now, 3 decimal places are enough for me. It is essential that the unit system is set to meters. For units for specific intensity of lighting, you can select International or leave it unchanged. After clicking OK, our drawing now has all the required configurations applied. Now, instead of repeating these settings every time we create a new drawing, we want them to be applied automatically. To do this, we will save these settings as a template. We click Save As, and a window opens. Here, we select AutoCAD Drawing Template, DWT. We will save this as a new template. As you can see, there are currently only 2 templates. Now we will create a new one. This template will include our defined coordinate system and all other configurations. We enter a name for the template. It is best to include the coordinate system name, for example, WGS84UTM38N. We then click Save. Another window opens where we can enter a description for the template. We write WGS84UTM38N and click OK. As you can see, our new template has now been created. We can verify this by going to the Start window and selecting Open. In the Templates section, you can now see our new template alongside the existing ones. From now on, when we open a new drawing using this template, there will be no need to redo these settings. The drawing will already be prepared with all configurations applied. We can confirm this by checking Drawing Utilities, Drawing Settings, where we will see that the coordinate system is already defined. After completing all these settings, we are now ready to start preparing our project. In the next lessons, we will begin working on a real project, starting from topographic data and continuing all the way through to the final road design.